Hello and welcome back to another episode here on the Mechanists server, and today we're gonna finish one of the oldest and greatest projects on the server, which we've been working on for over 10 months already. And obviously I'm talking about this old boy. We're finally able to use desktop folders and Xaios' new 3-way Bedrock Breaker. But also a lot of other stuff already changed at the perimeter, so here we are. So at the moment, yeah, the overhead of the new piston and the new bedrock breaker is way smaller, so we didn't need to remove that much bedrock here. And we are already at the last layer of bedrock that we need to remove. So we already removed a bunch of layers in the last couple of months. Well, we removed most of them in the last few weeks because of the new bedrock breaker, but we're already down to the last one, and the pistons, as you can see, have also been partially placed already, and that process has also been sped up by an insane amount. So Xaios and I think Desktop also helped him, I'm not sure about that one, but they also made a new floor placer. So this floor placer here is special. It's stupidly fast. It's absolutely insane. I have no idea how it works. It's way more complicated, but so much faster. We still have the AFK player down here. Let's look at it in Spectator. It's a little bit easier. We still have the AFK player down here placing the pistons. That player receives the items from this ice path here. In the back there we dispense them. And the player just picks them up and continuously places them. But yeah, obviously that's kind of boring compared to the bedrock breaker, so I'll see you again once we start at the bedrock breaker itself. 2 days later, the slabs have already been placed, and there you can already see the first part of the new bedrock breaker. And yes, it is small. It is very small. It already started removing the last layer here. Oh, I fell down. And this is just the station where the actual bedrock breaker is parking. But right now it's already on its journey breaking bedrock. There are pistons lying around here everywhere because it uses them up. And a few blocks in the back there we should already be able to see it. It's probably returning right now, but maybe we are lucky and we catch it breaking some bedrock. Oh yeah, it's just docking. A little bit too late. So we can actually see it returning though. So it's docking into the station, then doing some fancy limestone stuff, and flying back. It's also so ridiculous. This is all super compact and it's just insane. So right now the bedrock breaker is moving back. Since it can't break bedrock in both directions, it prepares everything, it pulls down the slabs there, and it prepares all of that in order to be able to break the bedrock when going forward again. Okay, so it's about to arrive in its main station again, and I will, by the way, also link Xaios' video on the bedrock breaker in the description. It's a really well made video. I really like the cinematics and everything. But yeah, the bedrock breaker is docking in the main station again now. And then we should be able to see it going again. So parking now. Doing some slimestone magic, and it's returning. Or going forward actually. And now we can see one of the sickest parts of this. We have the TNT tuber in here that shoots TNT forward on top of this separate slimestone construct that carries the TNT on for a little bit, and then it accelerates the TNT downwards. So this limestone part here that goes up and down, that accelerates the TNT so it falls down faster, so that it's easier to, so that it's even possible to make it this small. And that's just something that's so insane. I would have never thought of anything like that. Definitely check out Xaios' video. Also check out both the YouTube channels of Xaios and also Desktop Folder. I'll link everything in the description. Also a little bit behind the TNT. So in case you're not familiar with how Bedrock Breakers work in the current version, we have these slabs and the sticky pistons and the normal pistons here. I'll simplify it a little bit, but the TNT using the slabs creates headless pistons, so it blows up the heads of the pistons, and these are used to break the bedrock. In here, that's probably one of the most janky things in Minecraft I've ever seen. It looks completely broken, but basically what it does is it pushes this piston into the location of the sideways piston, while the sideways piston is retracting and being broken. Because of some fancy coding stuff, that breaks the bedrock underneath the sideways facing piston. And that's basically how it works. It breaks 2 bedrocks per second, so it takes 10 ticks to break 1 bedrock. Okay, not gonna lie, that explanation was kinda questionable, but it turns out that Desktop Folder himself was working on a video explaining this bedrock breaking setup. So if you want a proper explanation, feel free to check that video out. I'll link it in the top right if I don't forget, and also in the video description. And now it's finally time to appreciate the beautiful decoration that has already been built down here. So last time we checked this out, I think only part of the floor has been placed. By now the gold farm here is completely surrounded with the walls, the floor. The floor has the glass in already. These pillars also look really good. Then here the other walls, some glass is still missing here apparently. And those walls and pillars will later reach up to the edge of the bedrock and close this up really well. But the top will stay open. Also further in this direction, we have the bartering system, which looks really small compared to the perimeter. Kind of funny. But we have a bunch of piglins in here in 4 slots. Then down here is the gold distributing system. So we would put the gold in here. And the gold then gets distributed through the glass to the piglins. Those barter with the gold, and then the items they drop also end up inside glass. And then the items, because they are inside of a glass block, they will go further up through the obsidian and then inside the portal, and they'll get teleported to the overworld. And to check out the overworld, obviously I can't do that in spectator, but here we go in survival mode. I need to go through this portal. There are 3 portals in total, or 4 portals in total, 2 for transporting the items, 1 at the top as a chunk loader, and this one for player transportation. And here we are at the overworld side. So up there's the portal for the items, and in the overworld there's only 1 portal needed. The items will obviously end up here and then drop into this water stream, and then the water stream distributes the items across a bunch of hoppers, which are connected to shulker box fillers. So the first few are, for example, for blackstone. So we have 1, 2, 3 for blackstone. The 4th one is gravel. Then we have 2 for gravel, or 3. And we sort all the bartering items. And then we also have another hopper here, which collects all the books and enchanted boots. So those end up here, also filled up in shulker boxes very nicely. All the soul speed boots and books. In here we probably also want to decorate this a little bit at least at some point. But the nether side is definitely the highlight of this project. I love the broken bedrock. I think this is the most bedrock broken since 1.13. And I really love this project. It has brought in a lot of innovation with it, with the bedrock breaker, for example, and the floor placer. And we also made a whole another perimeter and whole other contraptions and everything, only to get the insane amount of pistons we needed for this project. And by now we definitely have the tools and the infrastructure to make more of these bedrock breaking projects which they really love. So while the Bedrock Breaker is still working and we still need to finish these walls, I'd say we check it out once the whole perimeter is finished. 2 weeks later, the perimeter is technically done, all the bedrock has been broken, and the last bedrock breaker that was used got even encased in some glass here to always remember this special moment in history where it broke the last few blocks of bedrock and then parked here forever. So the perimeter itself, the decoration is also finally done. We finished the glass on the walls here on the side. That's completely done, and also on the top we added a similar kind of border which kind of finishes this up at the top. So from the inside this already looks super good. It's completely finished. Also the gold farm here has also been expanded recently, so earlier we only had one chunk of suppressed portals for the farm here. Now we have 4 chunks. They are not chunk aligned though, since this is the center chunk, and because of the portal connecting we needed to expand it all around. So for that we also needed to break some bedrock here. That has been done manually though, so people put a lot of effort into this. But let's get back to the perimeter itself. So in the outside here it's not quite finished yet, and I really don't want to leave it like this with the broken bedrock here. I do want to keep the broken bedrock though. I think that looks really good. And I came up with this solution here for the outside. So we'd have glass on top here on the same level as the most outer bedrock layer. And then underneath the glass we'd have the different layers of the broken bedrock. And then underneath of the bedrock we'd have this concrete powder. This, however, is pretty annoying to build. So by hand you could barely do it, because you firstly need blocks below that support the concrete powder, and then it's like really annoying to place the powder because you need to walk through the bedrock here all the time, and then you get stuck in some places you can't even reach. So we should figure something out to at least somewhat automate that. The glass here at the top is easy. We can just build one of the floor places that we use to place the slabs for the bedrock breaking. Well, we need 4 of those on each side of the perimeter. So that's what I'll do today on stream. And then for the concrete powder, we will probably run 2 floor places underneath the bedrock. So obviously first we need to create some space. So I thought about using tunnel bores for that. So running 4 tunnel bores on each side of the perimeter underneath the bedrock, so we create enough space. And then underneath of that we'd have enough space to run more of the floor places, to place some supporting block and then the concrete powder on top. But since the floor place also needs some space, we'd have the bedrock here, some air below, and then the concrete powder and the stone. And technically we could relatively easily build flying machines that push those up. So it's in the actual final position here directly underneath the bedrock. I think that could work. I'll experiment with that a little bit in creative, and then we'll see how we do it in survival. No issues so far. We already started tunnel boring a little bit. The north side is already completely finished. Also here on the east side we already went most of the distance, and we're creating all that space just to make some basalt floor underneath the bedrock to make it look good. All of that only because of some decoration. At the top here, Allo is already working on the piston bolts. So this part here has already been finished. The rails here have been curved already all the way back there to the ice farm. The piston bolt itself still needs to be built. All that area has already been tunnel bored. So only this side missing, the side on the all the way over there, and a little bit of that side is missing. Then here we still need the piston bolt stations that connect to the ice farm. And then on the other side of the gold farm perimeter, as you could already see, there's also a piston bolt being built that will be have stations for both the gold farm itself. So there will be a station roughly here, and then another station in the back there for the trading system. For the tunnel bores, I needed to shield these bedrock breakers here that we sealed up. While doing that, I unfortunately activated some observers here and some of that part moved. I mean, you don't notice it. I have no idea what happened. Like, I only know that some of it moved. I can't figure anything out. Maybe I'll rebuild it so it's original. But yeah, I'll probably not. Yeah, I placed some obsidian to protect it from the tunnel bore below here. I'll remove that again afterwards. And then for the basalt floor itself, we also have a rough system already. So on the creative server, Bivella already worked on a system here. This basically has one stationary basalt generator, which pushes basalt in that direction. Here we have some conveyors that move the basalt on. Here we have a blockade of dispensers or droppers. And then on this side here, we have a bunch of self-returning flying machines that would just push the basalt that has been moved along here all the way to wherever it's needed. Back on survival, Alo just started moving those one block to the east. I guess he miscalculated it a little bit. But let's talk about the tunnel bore a little bit. I am having some nightmares of the tunnel bore from the quarry project. That was quite some pain to tunnel bore all that space underneath the quarry. Here it's a little easier, it's in the nether, there's not that much that can go wrong. We did use the same tunnel bore though. As I said, I already built two. One on this side, one on the other side. So far nobody else helped me with this. And yeah, you activate it by clicking on the node block, it shoots the TNT forward and blows up all the netherrack. There are sometimes lava sources further up. As soon as they're on the level of these pistons here, so at this height or higher, then they are an issue. Then I need to remove them before continuing to run the tunnel bore. Because otherwise the lava could either update this piston in a bad timing, or it could also light up the TNT, which already happened once here while tunnel boring. But I was very lucky and the TNT just fell down into the lava and didn't destroy anything. Also here on the side we have some stone and there was also already concrete powder on top of it. Elva actually started placing that a few days ago already. Here you can see some of the concrete powder, I didn't completely remove it yet. But we decided on using basalt instead of concrete powder since we can automatically generate it and it also looks a little bit better underneath the bedrock. So unfortunately we need to remove that again. Elva put a lot of manual effort into this, but doing it for all the area would have been way too much effort. Also this other part of the bedrock breaker I shielded a little bit here. The piston platform itself is not very important, we'll just blow that up with the tunnel bore partially, that's not an issue. But yeah, I also wanted to keep that one and protect it from the tunnel bore. But I'd say we'll continue tunnel boring and I'll see you again once we finish building up the first basalt floor builder. Well, plans on creative also changed. We continued working on another system for basalt roof places. Bivella and also Burn Torch helped with this a lot. They had the idea to take a floor placer, turn it upside down more or less, and feed that with a basalt generator. Obviously that's like way better and more handy than that giant thing. It's also way easier to build. We did a lot of prototyping. We had a lot of issues with the two conveyors interfering with each other, as we had one conveyor bringing the blocks from the basalt generator all the way to the floor placer, and that floor placer also had another conveyor that pushed the blocks to the other side. But after a lot of painful hours, we finally got a working system that's decently fast, I'd say. It's slower than the one with the self-returning flying machines, but it's way simpler and also can easily be used in more ways than the old system. So as you can see, the first conveyor is moving in this direction here. These stations here will continue moving the blocks. And this is the non-stationary conveyor that moves the blocks to the side. And once one row is completely filled, I'll simulate that with some bedrock here. Then this will pile up here and it will move the whole conveyor forward. Then it fills up the second row, and that just goes on like that for each row, one after another. And I already started building this in survival. So here the second conveyor is already completely built up, all the way to the edge of the perimeter here. So for reference, the perimeter is here. Here's all the bedrock, and the first one is built in this direction here, that will move along here. And the second conveyor, as I just said, is already built up all the way to the edge here. That will completely fill up the blocks all the way to the wall of the perimeter here. And currently I'm working on the main conveyor. These stations are super annoying to build in survival as they are all floaty blocks right underneath the bedrock. I helped myself with the netherrack bridges here, that makes it way easier. So I'll just continue doing this until I'm all the way at the end. But what we can do is already started, since it doesn't need the whole main conveyor. So I can just start the machine for now and continue building that conveyor afterwards. To activate it, as already seen in creative, I only need to flick one lever here. And then we should see the basalt coming out of here and it's being pushed in that direction. That will take a while until the whole row is filled and then it should move forward. Looks good so far. Now we can see it slowly backing up. And once that arrives in the front here, we should see it moving forward. And that didn't look good. Or did it? Oh, it did, okay. Okay, so looks like I built it correctly, nice. So now we just need to wait, continue building that conveyor and build 3 more of these. Just gotta flex a little bit with my survival slimestone skills here. So the floor placer already went all the way to the back there, it finished. And now I am having the issue that here you can, in some locations, easily see through the bedrock and see the ugly netherrack there. And that's why I want to move some of the basalt here further in this direction. On the other edges we have a large enough overhang here at the bottom, so you barely can see through at some locations. Maybe I will even move some here as well. But here I'm having massive space issues, so I have to get very creative with the flying machines to push the basalt further in that direction. And I've came up with a pretty nice concept here. I'll just quickly start it here. Oh, the server is lagging completely. I didn't see that. That's bad. Well, now we can watch it in slow motion. So the flying machine just moves this row that I already pulled over once further in that direction, and also pulls out a new row here, and then the conveyor here can continue moving new blocks in that direction, so I can then close this gap up hopefully. And another one. Look at this beauty. It pulls out these blocks down once, then moves them to the side with this piston here. Then with those blocks, observers power pistons above that through those blocks. And there's one piston here that pushes the next row once over as well. So this row will end up here. Oh no, I forgot one piston. There needs to be one more piston that pushes this up again. No need to make a separate flying machine for that. Whatever. So the plan was to move this row over once and this one as well. So I can activate the main conveyor here again. But now I need to build a separate flying machine again. Fix that with a separate flying machine now, so now I only need to activate the generator at the back here. So the last row gets filled as well. And that should be it. Now the generator is not filling this up again for some reason. Oh, one piston got moved here. Yeah, that piston should be one over here. Yeah, there we go. So now this row fills up as well. And then we're done here. With this side at least. And with that we're finally done! Oh. Never mind. Those need to fill up again. Now it's actually done though. I live streamed finishing the last few roof placers and also one more tunnel bore on Twitch. And it's all finished. All the basalt has been placed and I think it's time to finish this project and also the video with some epic cinematics. I hope you enjoy and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!